We are here. We have made it to Macau. Oh, that was a long day of travel. Should not have played until 3 or 4 a.m. last night, but did win 2,000, so can't complain. So here in Macau, I have a slight problem. This here is 40,000 Hong Kong dollars. Lowest stakes here are 5,100. So this is about 400 big blinds right here. Just for your reference, 5,100 is very close to 1020 in Canadian dollars. So stakes I'm a little bit higher than what I'm used to playing. I believe the rough translation is like 918. It's basically 1020. I don't really want to withdraw any more money, and it's tough to get cash into the country. So this is it. 400 big blinds for my life roll as well as my bank roll. 400 big blinds in a dream. What could go wrong? I'm going to take a couple days off, just relax. I got laundry to do. I got to edit my last video that you guys have already watched and liked. And then we are going to go play. I believe the Parisian is the one that people have been recommending me. So I'm going to head down there. Jesus, 5,100. I did not realize it was 1020. I thought it was like the equivalent of about 510. But hopefully we got some run good, run it up. If I do get up to about 300,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is a big stretch, I'm going to jump into the 10-20 game, which apparently plays a lot deeper. I've heard the 5-10 games people like to short buy for like 50 bigs, and they just want to double up and then leave. So not really about that. That doesn't sound fun. But the 10-20 games are supposedly a lot deeper, but that's the equivalent of about nearly 20-40. So really big game there. Yeah, this view is something else. It's going to be fun. I've got just under a month here. Then I'm going to head out to Hong Kong, play in a live stream in Hong Kong, and then I'm going to come back to Macau. So I've got about 40 days here. I think we can get to it. I think we can hit the goal of 300,000, take a shot at 1020. Let's get it, you guys. Let's go. All right, fellas, it's time for our first poker session in Macau. I'm going to be heading over to the Parisian, which is sort of like the Venetian's little sister. That's where their poker room has moved to. We're playing 5,100, which is around 1020. So stakes a little bit higher than what I'm used to. The bankroll is currently sitting at 38,350 Hong Kong dollars. So roughly 380 big blinds. Luckily, in that last clip you saw, we won a dinner flip. It's against an old poker friend from like 10 years ago. Him and two of his poker grinder buddies. It's grinder with an E, mind you. But yeah, let's head on over to the Parisian, play some cards, and pray to God we run good at least for the start and manage to build up the roll to a more reasonable, at least like 5 buy-ins, you know? Something that's not just causing fear every day of going bust. But I have my backpack so people know to fear me. And we're going to head over and play and win lots of money. That's it. Some population tendencies to look out for. I know that I cannot go thin for value here. Absolutely not. Every time I did in Jeju, they just fucking had it. They just had something crazy strong. So value thresholds are going to be a lot tighter, but bluffing ranges can be wider as an exploit. And what was the other one? I don't know. Rake is disgustingly high. It's like 5 big blinds. So for 1020, this is about $100 rake. So very tight pre-flop. I'm not going to be getting to many interesting spots like I was on my US road trip. So very straightforward poker, but it's going to be easy. And we're going to win. And we're going to fucking crush it. Let's go. Hello, this is Future Sam. We're going to go over some hand histories here, but I'm going to take you guys with me. I'm heading up, I don't know if you can see it in the distance, it's Koloan Village. There's a temple up there, so we're going to go explore over there and talk about some hands. But let's get two of them out of the way first. This is at the Parisian. It was my second day here. Trying to get adjusted to the games, but there is a limp under the gun. I look down at King 10 of spades in the cutoff, bumping up to 400, and my opponent makes the call. Heads up to a flop of ace, 9, 4, 2 clubs, 1 spade. Really good flop for me. You know, it's a limp call range. How's he ever gonna have a strong hand here? But he checks it over. I decide on a bet of 300, and my opponent makes the call. Heads to the turn is the 3 of diamonds, no help to me. Now, normally I would give up here when he checks to me, but like the only strong hand he can have here is pocket fours. Maybe threes that floated the flop, but I doubt it. He's like, you can't even have a strong ace, and I can probably get him off a hand like, I don't know, ace 5 suited or something. So I'm going to go for it. I put in the over bet. 1550 in the middle. I put in $2,200. My opponent immediately goes, ah, like that, looking stressed, and then puts in the raise to 6,000. I guess I was wrong. So I fold, and my opponent shows ace king. So he can have a strong ace there. How do you have ace king there? That doesn't even make sense. That is ridiculous. So on to the next hand of the Parisian. It's very slow. We're not getting too many hands, but middle position limp. I look down at king, queen off, bump it up to 400, folds around, big blind, and middle position, make the call. 3 ways to a flop of ace, 9, deuce. Very similar flop. 2 diamonds, 1 heart. Checks to me. Gonna start with a small bet here. I've got the huge, overwhelming range advantage. 300 to the middle, big blind folds, and now the limper puts in the check raise up to 1.1k. We fold. Not a good start, but let's head on up to the mountain and talk about some more poker hands. All right, folks, that is day 1, session number 1 in the bag. Played at the Parisian about 4 hours or so. Guys, I'm not too in love with Macau games. The rake, close to $100 fucking dollars. Number 1, really brutal. It is, you know, a 10-20 game, so it's only around 5 big blinds, slightly under. No, it's exactly 5 big blinds, so it is high. Games are very, very, very nitty. I'd say about 50, maybe close to 70% of hands, blinds just chop, or it's a raise and everyone folds. So very, very nitty games. The rake, almost $100. That's so much. The dealers and the players, a little bit on the slow side, so you're not getting too many hands per hour in. Getting around maybe 20, which kind of sucks. Also, the amount the casino takes per hand is close to $100. Let's see. In the 4 hours I played, there was only 1 all-in, and it was aces versus kings, and it wasn't even pre-flop. Guy with kings opens under the gun, aces 3 bets, around 80 big blind stack for the kings. He just flats, 9 high flop, check, bet call, turns an 8. So it's getting a little messy, but it's like 9-8 3 deuce. Checks, faces another like half pot bet. Dude tanks for like 5 minutes, almost folds, then calls. Music's too loud here. River, blank, checks, faces an all in, thanks for ages, and then eventually calls, and it is kings versus aces. That was the only all in this whole thing. Also, if I wanted to eat out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it would cost me less than the rake of 1 fucking pot. Most players buy in short too. It's like 50 to 100 big blinds, about the average stack at the table. It is a 300 big blind cap game, so you can't buy it for 300, but nobody does. Finally, the rake is $100 fucking dollars, you guys. I might just have to accept that my win rate is going to drop. I'm used to 21 to 22 big blinds an hour over the last 1,000 hours live. I think here my win rate is going to be around 5 to 8 big blinds an hour, and it's going to be tough. I'm going to need some serious patience because you can't even use your phone at the table. There's also going to be no vlogging at the table because I literally can't even text when I don't have a hand. You have to stand up. So that's that. Got 1 hand of footage in 4 hours. This is going to be rough, you guys, but I'm going to power through it. I'm going to table change a lot. We're going to find some games. And I'm just going to look for the best. Hope for the best. That's it for me, guys. I need to get some rest. I'm going to the gym. Go to the pool tomorrow. Edit my last video, which is the Jeju one that you guys have already seen and liked. And then day after, which I believe is what day is it? Which will be a Saturday. We'll head back, jump in the 5100 streets again, and grind it out. Thank you so much. See you guys in some more hand histories. All right, guys, I am back. It has been 2 days since I last played poker. The bankroll's down to about 37,080. I spent the last 2 days editing that video and ordered quite a bit of room service. So we got to go play. We're going to MGM this time, not Parisian. I heard that every 2 hours you play, you get a free meal. That'll save some money. So we're gonna head down there, jump into the 5100, which is roughly 1020 Canadian, and spin up a stack. That's it. Let's go. Wow, look at that view. As we're approaching the top of this temple, I'm gonna start off with the 5100, the very first hand. Ace 4 suited in on the button. We have an early position raise up to 300. Easy 3-bet here, so I make it 1,000 to go. And then the big blind has been very active, puts in the cold 4-bet to 2.5K. Now I bought in for about 15,000. We only have about 40,000. So when it folds back to me, like I have less than 3 buy-ins here for bankroll and life roll combined. So naturally, I rip it in, all in, put max pressure on with the Ace 4 suited. I would be calling Ace King here, and I'd be just willing to go for it with the Ace 4 and Ace 5 suited. And after about 3 minutes, my opponent lets it go. We show the 4 of spades because it is a very, very nitty table, and I'm trying to get any action. I'm probably just going to show every single bluff I fire. Yeah, on the next hand. In this game, we have a very aggro player to my right. Raises to 300. That looked like a snake, but it's not. Raises to 300. We got Queen Jack off on the button. Bumping on up to 1K. Doing a lot of 3-betting these games. My opponent makes the call. Heads up to a flop of Queen 9 8. 2 hearts, 1 spade. My opponent checks. It's a little bit too merged to bet this. I'm like, I like a check back here. So that's what I do. We head to the turn. Is the 7 of clubs, improving me to a gut shot. My opponent now puts in a wager of 1.1K, around half pot. Nothing to do here. Raising is insane, so we just call. Rivers, interesting. It's the Jack of spades, so flush draw bricks, but we do make 2 pair, but any 10 is a straight. My opponent now checks it over. I think we got to go for some value here, so I put in a bet of 4,000. My opponent looks like it's just on misdraw. Snap folds right away, but nice to pick up that pot to start off our session. All right, on to the next hand. This one's about an hour later. It's very, very, very slow hands per hour, but we have Ace 10 off under the gun. Open it up to 300. Middle position calls, and so does the big blind. Take a look at this one. So 3 ways to a flop. It comes down ace high with a king and a 3, 2 spades. We don't have any spades, so just gonna check this one over, and action checks through. Turn is the 6 of clubs. Look at this. This was Tigers. These are really nice. 6 of clubs on the turn, 2 flush draws now. We go for a little bit of value, bet 800 into a pot of 950. Big old bet here. Middle position calls, and big blind gets out the way. Here's some cranes. River, 10 of hearts, make 2 pair. This opponent, I did 4-bet bluff him before with Ace 4 suited. I 4-bet ripped it in. So you see me bluff there, and I also had a failed bluff attempt on a 4 flush board. So I'm gonna go big here. I overbet the pot 4.5K into 2.5K, and we face a very long tank, as is customary here in Macau. And after about 4 or 5 minutes, he decides to call. And it's never really good news here. You're always worried that you could be beat and just get nit rolled. But after him looking at his cards, looking at the board, looking at his cards, looking at the board, he returns them to the dealer. And we are gonna scoop a really nice pot over 5 figures, and on to the next one. Okay, this hand we have a cutoff open to 300. I looked down 7-6 of spades in the small blind, bump it on up to 1.2k. And the big blind, quite a tight player now, puts in the cold 4-bet, again, to 2.8k. It's really cheap, and I've been folding a lot to 3-bets. Like my Jack 10 suited, Queen Jack suited, straight hit in the muck. These players are very tight, and they're 3-betting very linear. So if you do want to call some suited connectors, it's going to be this 8-7, 7-6, 5-4 suited, and you're going to have to drop everything above that. 8-9 through Queen Jack suited, even King Queen suited is not going to be a call here. So 7-6, probably my best suited connector to get in there. Some pocket pairs as well, and we're even have to dump hands like Ace King here. We're just going to have to dump them. So very narrow range here, but I make the call. We head heads up to a flop of King 10-9, 1 spade. Not great. Check it over. We face a small bet of 1.5k with our gut shot backdoor flush draw. We have to float here. We are absolutely going to stack him if we hit an 8, and maybe if he's got a hand like queens, we can try and take it away from him. So I make the call. The turn is the 3 of clubs. No help to us. I check it over. My opponent's about 1 SPR behind. The pot's about 9k, and he bets only 3k. We can't continue here. We just have a gut shot, so into the muck, unfortunately. All right, guys, so I'm gonna move a little bit away from the temple. It seems more like a place for introspection, meditation, prayer, respecting the dead. Not a place for poker hands, so gonna get out of there, but geez, look at that. How incredible is that? This next hand, we have a open from under the gun, and I am directly to his left. It's the aggro kid. I got pocket jacks, bumping on up to 1k, folds back round, and he does make the call. Heads up to a pretty nice flop. It's Queen 7-3 rainbow. You know, Ace Queen is probably gonna be a 4-bet in these positions, so I'm not very worried about the Queen. I'd say if we had the best hand pre-flop, we still have the best hand now. So small bet is in order. I put in a bet of $600, and my opponent, after some thought, does make the call. Heads to the turn, it's not great. It's the King of Spades. I'm not too worried about this hand. I think Ace King would always be a 4-bet from this player. I did see him 4-bet a fish with Ace 10 off. So his 4-bet range is very wide. I don't think he'll ever have Ace King here, but maybe he's got King Queen suited. I don't know. But all in all, Jacks is getting a little bit too thin to bet. I think 10s and 9s are just gonna fold if he does have those. So I check this one back. River, 8 of hearts, doesn't change a whole lot. I mean, pocket 8s does get there, but oh well. Now my opponent bets out 1,700. I don't like the sizing. I think he would go a bit bigger with bluffs. He is definitely capable of turning a hand like pocket 10s and pocket 9s into a bluff. I saw him turn top pair, top kicker into a bluff. Check raise jam on the turn. He knew he was behind an overpair. Like really good awareness of where he's at in the hand. But 1,700, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna have Ace Queen for value here. I don't think he goes thin enough for value. That's one of the things I noticed. So I don't think Ace Queen would be here. And I think he would 4-bet that pre. Same with Ace King. So he's not repping too much here. He could have queens, I guess, but also with 4-bet. So all in all, I just don't know what he could have here that beats me, but I could definitely see him turning a hand like pocket 9s into a bluff here. So that being said, I toss in the call, and my opponent rolls over pocket 3s for the flop set. Well, at least we got away pretty cheap for that one. Maybe lost 20 big blinds post flop, so not a big deal, but on to the next hand. All right, guys, leaving the temple now. Gonna go find somewhere else to film. Probably head down to the beach, but let's go for another hand. We have an under the gun open to 300. It's got about 9k in his stack, and we call in the big blind with 5-4 off. Flop comes down, ace, 5-4. That is bottom 2 pair. Love to see it. I check it over to my opponent, who puts in a bet of 200. For this sizing, we are always raising here with bottom 2, so I bump it up to 800. My opponent gives it some thought and makes the call. Off the turn, it is the 7 of spades. A little bit of a messy card, but we probably still have the best hand here unless he has ace 7. So gonna keep betting here. Looking about 4 SPR, the pot's 2250, and my opponent has around 8k behind. So we're gonna have to bet around 2,000 to get it all in by the river. So 2k into the middle. My opponent gives us some thought and once again calls. Very good news. The river is a 9 of hearts. Beautiful run out. We didn't get counterfeit. Love it. And we set up for this river shove, so that is exactly what I do. $6,000 into the middle. My opponent gives about 2 minutes of thought and then makes the call. We roll it over, and then my opponent rolls over his hand, which scared me for a second, but his pocket 6s. he actually made a light call. Like, these games are incredibly nitty. I did not expect to see pocket sixes there. I thought he's gonna have ace king, or maybe even like aces up with something that just wanted to call. And yeah, I was worried there, but we scooped that pot. That's huge. That's an 18K pot. Love it, love it, love it. All right, not a bad session, all things considered. A little bit of up, a little bit of down, a little bit of up again. In the game for 15,000 Hong Kong, about 3,000 Canadian, out for 18,700 for a win of 3,700. Little 4-hour session, so almost 10 big blinds an hour. Love it. This is gonna bring the roll from whatever it was before to 40,730, I think. And then I ate a $130 dinner, so still, we are up. It's good. If I want to break even on the trip, I probably need to leave here with around 75,000 Hong Kong to cover the hotel, the flight, travel insurance. But I think that's doable. But obviously, I'd like to make more than that. It's kind of late now, so I'm gonna head to bed and probably play again tomorrow. See you guys then. Gotta go play poker. All right, folks, so we finished up our session at the Parisian. This is a new day. We are over at MGM Macau this time. Gonna try a few different casinos because the action is just so poor. This hand, I open up ace-4 of diamonds in the hijack, button calls, small blind calls, and big blind calls. 4 ways to this flop of queen, 7, deuce, 2 diamonds. And now small blind decides to lead out for 2/3 pot, 800 in the middle. This is just always top pair, top kicker. Just spineless. Big blind calls, there's no sense in raising here. I just call, button folds. Off to the turn, it is the deuce of spades. Not great. Small blind now bets up for 2K. Big blind gets out the way. Come on, let's hit this diamond. We make the call. Off to the river, it is the 9 of clubs. My opponent now checks it over to me. We are never bluffing here. This man has just played his hand super face up. I check it back, right? Maybe once the blue moon, he's got another flush draw and we win. But no, my opponent rolls over ace queen. So yeah, unfortunately, starting off down a few thousand, down 30 big blinds to start the session. It's gonna be very tough to win those big blinds back, let me tell you guys. Still walking down this mountain. It has taken forever. I have sweat everywhere. I got swamp butt, I got man boob sweat. But you guys want to talk about poker hands or hear about them. This next hand, just to show you how ridiculous these games are. Open up ace king suited here in the low jack. Very happy to see this hand. We're getting about 10 hands an hour, so you are constantly card dead. You're not really card dead, but you won't play a hand for 2-3 hours. Then player to my left, 3 bets to 1K. He is a reg, so I'm not too worried about this. And then we get a cold 4 bet all the way up to 3.6K in the cutoff. I'm sitting on about 14,000, so 140 bigs, and it took me half a second and I just snap folded this. Yeah, that was it. Hijack fold and cutoff shows pocket kings. Whoa, no way. God damn these games, you guys. On to the next hand. We have queen 10 of hearts on the button. Low jack has raised to 300. Could 3-bet him, but this player limp called ace-king suited. So I'm very worried about 3-betting this guy, okay? What the hell is he raising if he's limp calling ace-king suited against a guy who has 30 big blinds? I don't know, but I'm terrified. So I just call the queen 10 of hearts on the button. This invites the big blind in. We're going 3 ways to this flop of queen 8-3, 2 diamonds, 1 spade. Big blind checks, low jack bets 500 into the 2 of us. Alarm bells are screaming in my ear, but it's too soon to fold, so I make the call, big blind folds. Off to the turn, it is the 5 of spades. My opponent now checks it. They're very, very, very trappy, so I don't feel good about my hand still, so I just check this back. River, it's a 9 of diamonds. My opponent once again checks it, and I throw in a value bet. It's got to be good at this point, of 1.3k into a pot of about 2k. And we face another insane 6-minute tank. Oh, just call or fold, make your decision. Finally, my opponent calls. We roll over our hand. He looks at my hand, he looks at the board. He looks at my hand, he looks at the board, scrutinizes it, looks at his hand, flips it up, puts it on the table. It's fucking jack 10 with a jack of diamonds. He has a straight, he rivered the straight. Ah! I hate these games. Where is this? What am I doing here? What is this place? I still have like 20 minutes to get down off this mountain. All right, I'll be back for the next hand in a bit. So sweaty, I'm so hot. These games suck. Okay, folks, so this next hand, incoming tilt warning. It's like trigger warning, but tilt warning. I've come by this nice, peaceful body of water here. You can see it, because it should be as calm as possible to tell this next hand. Otherwise, you'll see me in the news as the Hillside Strangler number 2. We don't want that, okay? So, calm. I open the king 10 of diamonds up to $300 in middle position. The low jack, hijack, cutoff, and small blind all make the call. 4 players to a flop. Ace, queen, 10, rainbow. Not a single diamond. Not good. But action checks to me. Just going to check this back, and it checks all the way through. We head to the turn. It is the 8 of hearts, introducing the backdoor flush draw. Jack 9 also got there, for what it's worth. Small blind now leads out for 500. We're never good here, ever. So we're getting 5 to 1. We've got 2 outs with a 10. We have 4 outs with the jack. A 10, we probably do get paid. The jack, I think we can squeeze a little bit of value out. We have 13%, and we need 20%. I think I can get that extra value on the river, especially if someone behind comes along, which they most likely will. But I make the call, a little bit speculative, but it is small. Low jack, hijack, and cutoff all fold. We head to the river. It's a jack of clubs, so we get there. Get there, you guys. Now small blind puts in a bet of 1k, but he fired it out so fast, and he's very old. I don't think he realized that there's a 1 to a straight on there. So I'm going to try and raise, get some value from a hand like ace queen, some kind of 2 pair that you can't lay down. So I bump it up to 2.5k. My opponent looks at the board, looks at his hand, then moves all in. All right, we're chopping. It's fine. I make the call. My opponent rolls over. Ace king. He's got like 45 big blinds. He has ace king. Whatever. That's fine. That's fine. You know, by him calling, we got to chop the other people's money. But that's not where this hand ends. There's a man in seat 1, right beside the dealer. He's got his head down like this the entire time. Every time there's actions on him, he has to be reminded to wake up because he's just so strung out on something or just extremely tired. He doesn't look good, but every single time, action has to be reminded of him. Now the dealers, they count the pot at the end to calculate the rake. Me and the other player have taken our all-in bets back, so he's just taken rake from what's in the pot, which a little bit scummy, but I've had to remind dealers that they're over-raking 4 times already, and a dealer tried to rake me pre-flop once. So the times I didn't catch it, I've probably been over-raked by a lot. So just that, okay? Now this player in player 1 tells the dealer it's an all-in, you need to rake maximum. This man that doesn't even know it's his turn can fucking calculate the pot. Calm. And so we go from a $32 rake to a $100 rake. That's Canadian dollars. Just breathe. Yeah. Wasn't even in the hand. It didn't even have a hand. Didn't play it. Didn't even come in pre-flop, but made sure the casinos made their extra $67 Canadian that hand. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I have one last hand to share with you. We are nearly at the bottom of the mountain. So some backstory on this player, because it's very important for this hand. There was an early position open, middle position call, and he flatted the button. Flop was 9-8 deuce rainbow, and the button, the player from this hand, had 9-8. Flop top 2, and action checks all the way through on the flop. Turns a queen. The undergun player bets 66%. Middle position calls, and the player with 8-9 agonizes for about 6 minutes before folding the turn. He folded 2 pair. And then after the hand, the players were all in agreement that that was the correct play. He did show his hand to someone because it was a bet and a call. Of course he can't call. Where am I? What the hell? So anyways, he opens the 300 and I look down at Jack 10 off to his direct left in the hijack, low jack. And I 3-bet to 1K. Thinks for a little bit and then makes the call. We go heads up to a flop of ace, king, 8. Beautiful flop. Let's hope he doesn't have ace, king because they play it so passively. But I think ace, king is more likely a limp call from this player. I did see him limp call ace, king suited before, so not too worried. A little bit worried about traps like pocket aces. He did ask how much I have behind before making the call. But gonna start with a small bet here, 700, and he makes the call. Off to the turn, it is the 3 of hearts, introducing the backdoor flush draw. We do have the 10 of hearts, so a little bit of relevance, but there's no way I'm not winning this pot. There's no way. So he checks it again. We have 10K behind, pot is 3.5K. So to set up a river shove, I put in $3,000 into the middle. My opponent, once again, thinks about it for a little bit. No, actually, he made a really quick call in the turn, which made me feel really good about my hand. River is the 8 of clubs, so pretty much a brick. He's never calling down with an 8, so I'm not worried about that. And after a little bit of thought, he decides to check. That is a green light. I move all in. We fade the snap call, and honestly, even if he has ace king, he may not even call it. But after 2-3 minutes, he flashes an ace and folds, and we get it through. I of course show the bluff like I always do, just to try and generate some action in the game, and the table looks angry. There's an old man just completely bewildered that somebody threw in their entire stack with jack high. He looks upset, like he's never seen someone do that before. But yeah, that is the final hand. I played for another half an hour, but I didn't pick up anything. The game was getting really slow and really tight, and yeah, it was late. So decided to pack it up, call it a night. That was the end of our 3 casinos: Parisian, MGM Macau, and Grand Lisboa. I probably will not be returning to any of those 3. I don't know, maybe, we'll see. Hopefully the games get better. I know Golden Week just ended, which means all the mainlander Chinese were here while I was in APT Jeju, which was last vlog, and now they're back home. So it's mostly regs and just a bunch of nits. So that is it. Look at this, we made it to the bottom. We survived the mountain. That is it from me, guys. Take it away. Pass Sam. All right, guys, it is late. It's almost 3 a.m. wrapping up that session. I don't know why I played so long. I was disgustingly card dead for the last 3 hours. I played like one hand in 3 hours. That was a king 10 of diamonds hand. That guy who told the casino to rake more money. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oof. Woo. What the fuck? Somehow I still haven't tilted. All my decisions have been based on just what's the best move. And somehow, some way, even though we're only getting 10, maybe 15 hands an hour, getting players to tell the dealer to rake more money, and people just nit rolling, just so slow, I still have managed to not punt a stack. I have the patience of 1,000 pelicans. But for the results, we played 3 sessions. First session, we won $300. Second, 3.4K, and today 1,150 for a total win of, what is that, 4,950, I think. Numbers will be on here because I'm really bad at math, but that's across 11 hours. So that's like 5 big blinds an hour, which is probably around my true win rate here, because everyone buys in quite shallow We're getting maybe 10 hands an hour, which is just crushing the hourly rate. Everyone's short and people just aren't paying off something. We had, I didn't see the rest of the hand, but we're at the river. It's a 4K pot, which is like 20 big blinds. It's nothing. It's Jack 8, oh no, it's 40 big blinds. Boards Jack 8765. So any 9, any 3 is a straight. A pretty aggressive kid who's been splashing around a tiny bit. Not much, just a tiny bit. He would probably be a nit in America. Bets 4K into the pot, which is around 4K. And the fish rolls over Jack 9 of diamonds. He has the straight. Shows his cards and tanks for 5 minutes before making the call, and the kid says, "You're good." So many limp calls with ace king. Oh, I just can't do anymore. But guys, we're gonna check out the win tomorrow. I had good luck with them before. We're gonna try them out. And that is it for me for this vlog. I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully the win goes better. Have a good night, everyone, and I hope your games are better than this.